Hunting here in Oregon is a lot different than Vermont because the mountain ranges are a lot bigger and there's more opportunities of more wildlife. I started hunting when I was 8 years old, and in Vermont it's mostly just turkey and deer, and started bear hunting a couple years ago. The challenges that I'm dealing with is being blind in my right eye. And with being blind in my right eye, I had to switch to shooting lefty because I was right eye dominant. And with being chosen to become a part of Hunt of a Lifetime, it's really amazing because it's a chance to kind of like bring back like being blind, and it's kind of like a reward in a way. Last year, I was experiencing bad headaches in the back of my head. And after a week, just woke up one morning, my eye was really puffed out and I just couldn't see. I got shipped to Boston and had 2 surgeries, 13 MRIs, and 6 CAT scans. And they finally figured out that it was meningitis that was causing it.
Hunt of a Lifetime is an organization that takes kids out with life-threatening illnesses. We do anything from whitetail hunts to moose hunt, and it's a great organization, and I'm very happy to be part of it. These hunts mean so much for those who are involved, from the participants to the volunteers. Every hunting experience creates lasting memories, but these hunts and these memories are very special.
So we've been hiking for several miles, and Chris looked over to his left and there was a nice bull walking down the hill. So we ended up trying to get on him, and when we got at the point where he had already crossed through the valley and up the other side. And at that point it was a 500-yard shot, and we tried to take it, but I couldn't get him in the scope at the time.
He stopped. There he is.
He was moving through the trees at a fast pace, and it was difficult trying to get on him because I didn't realize my scope was dialed in all the way. And with the short windows that we had between the trees, it just didn't come out to our favor.
So we're heading out for our last hunt of the evening, and our plan is we're going to take 2 different vehicles and we're going to glass 2 different clear cuts. We got cell service up there so we can communicate back with one another. Clay took David off to one clear cut. I followed Chris, and we hadn't gone probably 150 yards. Chris bails out. He's got a bull spotted on the other side of the canyon. Well, after Chris spotted this bull, we jump out, we glass the bull. There's no wind. It's straight across the canyon. The conditions are perfect. It's 737 yards. I get on the phone, I call Clay, I said, get David over here right away, we got a bull. In the meantime, I took my signature series, I set it up on the bipod, got the backrest, dialed the yardage, it is ready to go.
After rushing over, the trucks were behind us and I was in the prone position. And with this elk, it was a lot more different because he wasn't moving through the trees. I had an open window, and it was more of just when I could get a good broadside shot on him.
David shows up, got him behind the gun. We did a couple dry fires. There's no wind, there's no angle. It's in the clear, and it's 737 yards away. David took the shot, and he dropped it.
I wasn't really feeling much excitement at the point after, but once I realized that he was going down and that he was down, it was a very different feeling because of how big elk are and how just shooting high range is very different, and it's a really good experience.
After the shot, we realized getting to the bull was going to be a lot more work than we thought. The canyon down to it was too steep, too dark, and we couldn't get up the other side. We spent hours trying to figure out how to get above this bull. The hike to get to this elk was 4 miles in the dark. Luckily, we had a full moon. It was actually a pretty nice night to go hiking. Great 4-point bull.
Oh, definitely.
Thing didn't go 15 yards,
Yeah.
piled up.
I'd like to thank my dad for coming with me on this trip because he's done a lot. He's made my hunting career possible. And with everything he's taught me, it helped with being on this hunt because of different knowledge and different things towards hunting. It was all worth it because of what the outcome really was and how much of an experience it was. This is amazing. Big animal.
My name's Brent Woolard. I'm from Bremerton, Washington, and me and Tom have been hunting together for over 20 years. And when we found out we had the chance to host a hunt of a lifetime hunt at the lodge, we absolutely fell over backwards.
To see a smile on a kid's face for me is the biggest enjoyment I could get out of all this. So that I guess that would be my passion. That's the main thing is to share it with the kids, man.
You can get to that first.
My name's Clay McEnroe. I'm a volunteer with Hunt of a Lifetime. I've been doing it for about 9 years. We end up with quite a few of the elk hunters coming to Eastern Oregon every year, and I get the pleasure of the company of these young men that get to come hunting.
My name's John Michael Schultz, and I'm from Belmont, Mississippi, a little small town with about 3,000 people. And I do whitetail hunting and just about any type of game in Mississippi, but we have nothing like an elk. So whenever I get the chance to come up here and go elk hunting, it's amazing because nothing can compare to this in Mississippi. I went pheasant hunting last October and noticed that something was wrong. So I went to my local doctor and found out I had cancer. And so I got sent to a children's hospital and figured out I was just old enough to make the age limit and discovered I had desmoplastic small round cell tumor, which come to find out is one of the rarest types of cancer known. There's not even 200 reported cases known in the world, so it was pretty rare. And I've been taking treatments since around Thanksgiving of November till today. I'm done with my chemo. Last scan I had come back and said that everything was gone, so I mean that's awesome there. But they give you a Make-A-Wish program at the St. Jude, which me being 21, I'm a little too old for the Make-A-Wish program, so they set me up with a Hunt of a Lifetime, and that's right up my alley because I love the outdoors. So they set me up to come out here on the elk hunt in Oregon, and I was just thrilled to death to be able to get this once in a lifetime opportunity to come out here and take an elk, and it's just amazing.
You know, like any elk hunt, you have to be able to make adjustments, and we had a big one to make. As we were watching this field, waiting for the elk to come in, we saw on this ridge all the elk come over, and there was hundreds of them. And they came down, and they could either feed to us or go down into this big pivot. Well, as luck would have it, they went down into this big pivot, so we had to make a move. We all took off. We got down underneath this tree. We've got hundreds of elk out in this pivot, and we've got a big bull out there. And for whatever reason, he decided to leave the herd. And we've got 30, 40 bulls in front of us, some good bulls. We're waiting for this big one. And Danny has an idea. He's gonna take Devin and go back up into the draw that they came through. So if we get a shot at one of these pivots, these elk will try and escape back up this draw. Danny and Devin will be in position. So we're sitting there, we're waiting for this big bull to come back into the herd. He's coming back, he's getting closer. Like I said, Danny and Devin decided to move off to this other little draw. And as we're sitting there, I hear this bugle of this bull coming down from the ridge that they just come from. And I turned to Clay and I said, they're gonna kill that bull. And it was several minutes later, we heard a gunshot. So we're sitting there, we're waiting for this big bull to come back into the herd. He's coming back, he's getting closer. Like I said, Danny and Devin decided to move off to this other little draw. And as we're sitting there, I hear this bugle of this bull coming down from the ridge that they just come from. And I turned to Clay and I said, they're gonna kill that bull. And it was several minutes later, we heard a gunshot.
Here he comes.
So after the shot, we were excited. We had total chaos. The herd was trying to get back up the draw. We took off to go take a look at, see if Devin got one.
He's mine now.
So after we got to the bull, we congratulated Devin on a beautiful bull. We had about 5 minutes worth of light left. We took off after the herd and we chased him. We could hear him cow calling and bugling. We got within about 200 yards. They're up on a hillside. We just couldn't pull a bull out of that bunch. And we didn't want to push them hard. I mean, we didn't want to blow these elk off the ranch. So we backed off right at dark and hoping they'll be back there tomorrow night.
When I first got here, I knew John was going with us, and I knew he had cancer and stuff, and what he was going through, same thing I was going through. But I knew he was going to take a shot, but because he was going home tomorrow. But he got down on where the field was, and me and Danny circled around, and we were going to take the shot if we could find the bigger one. And came over the hill and seen cows walking, and started bugling and walking through the trees, and right when he got to that opening, Danny said take a shot, so I took it and dropped him right there. Well, when I heard the thud, it was definitely exciting, and I don't know, I'm just really happy. It's my first elk, and just want to thank all you guys for being here, helping me do this stuff, and definitely a hunt of a lifetime.
This is just another example of hunt of a lifetime's great adventures, I guess you'd call it. We couldn't do it without everybody here helping out. I've lost track over the 11 years that I've been the Oregon ambassador of how many times and how many kids we've been out. But it seems like each time we end up in this same situation with lots of smiles and a lot of happy people. And like I said, we couldn't do it without all the help, and landowners helped, Best of the West helping us out this year with the kids and the guns and the scope, the dialing them in.
You know, I want to expand a little bit on what Danny said about our volunteers. I'd really like to, Tom and Ron and Brent, what they did for us, putting us up in their lodge.
Go check it out.
They fed us amazing meals. Brent got the footage on this kill. We split up. You know, it's again, our volunteer base is growing, and so is our organization because of it. And I really want to thank you guys. I mean, it means a lot to me, and
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
looking forward to hunting in the future with you guys, man.
That's why we're here, buddy.
So,
Thanks.
Thank you.
This particular ranch, the only time we hunt it is in the evening, and the wind had changed direction from the night before. So our plan was to set up on the opposite side of the field, and because of our location, we couldn't see the elk until they were actually in the field. So the ranch manager, they had given us some radios, and we got a call from one of the managers there, and they had found some elk. Our comment to that was, well, if it's not the big herd, we're gonna stay here because we're in a perfect spot. Well, 5 minutes later, they call back, they say, it is the big herd. I says, well, come get us, we need to go after it. She brought the one of the ranch trucks up, flatbed 4-door, and we all piled in this thing. We're racing across the ranch. She's on the radio with her son, who's got the whole herd in his spotting scope, and he's trying to guide us in. And as I realized, these ranch people have their own language. You know, they know every tree, every rock by name, and I realized that we're not gonna be able to find these elk without her. So I asked one of our guys to donate one of his camo shirts, and I said, you are gonna be our guide. And we get up to the spot, she puts on the camo shirt, and we take off cross country trying to get in front of these elk. So we leave the rig, we take off cross country trying to get in front of these elk. And I look down, and she's in her stocking feet, and we can't keep up with her. We set up 3 different times. These elk are supposed to come through this draw or that draw, and we're running out of light. And probably after the 3rd location, I turn back, I look at her, and her face is just falling. And I said, what's going on? And she says, the elk are leaving the ranch. The whole herd had beeline, they were headed out, almost ready to cross the highway off the ranch, and the hunt was done. I mean, we didn't have any elk. We were running out of time. So we sat there for a couple minutes, and her son calls back on the radio. A pickup had stopped out on the highway to look at him and turned the whole herd back around, and they're coming at us. Talk about luck. We've got 5 minutes of light left. We've set up 3 different times, and the elk are coming back. We moved down along this fence line. I look down through this chute, and I can see this rack. And we set John up again, and it's go time. And the elk started crossing this fence, elk after elk, hundreds of them. And this nice bull jumps over the fence. We look back, Noah, he's got the camera ready. We're ready to go. John shoots.
I could see horns running everywhere, and I was just trying to find which one I thought was the best one, and noticed they all started jumping the fence, and there he was. I saw him come out of there, big bull. So I looked at him for a little bit, and I decided that he was going to jump that fence, and I decided when he was going to jump that fence, I was going to take it. Yeah, so as I shot, I was pretty confident about my shot, but everybody else behind me was telling me, oh no, you missed, hurry up and put another bullet in there. Well, I was so disappointed that they told me I missed that I didn't even put another bullet in there. I had to have somebody do that for me, but I knew when I pulled the trigger that I had it where I wanted it.
After the shot, there was a lot of emotion going on. You know, when John shot, I thought he missed. The elk was virtually behind a tree. It was our last evening. John had to fly out to his home, and I thought the hunt was done, and we had failed. And I was pretty dejected at that point. And we headed down the hill, and there he was. He made a perfect shot. The bull didn't go 10 yards and piled up.
Dude! Dude! Oh my God! Dude! Congratulations, man. I am so happy for you. It's a good bull, bro.
It's a great bull.
Oh my God.
Tyler was thrilled. He was screaming to everybody across the mountains. He couldn't have been more excited.
You know, as we were walking down to John's bull, it made me really realize that this bull didn't happen. The reason it happened because of all the people who were involved. All these volunteers made this hunt happen. We would have never found the elk if she wasn't guiding us across there. Her son finding the elk, you know, he didn't have to go out there and do that, but he did. And the volunteer base, it was overwhelming.
Words can't describe how excited I was to be able to come up here and get my first elk. I mean, a Mississippi boy like me is not used to seeing something like this, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So being able to get up there and see that elk on the ground and hold him in your hands, that's a pretty amazing feeling.
So they're all on their way.
Nice. I believe it, man.
Like Devin said last night, it's a hunt of a lifetime, and I do thank each and every one of y'all for it.
I was watching John Michael, and as I was watching him, I heard just the faintest boom, and I knew he shot. I didn't think it was him at first because it sounded a whole lot further off, but the guy standing with me said, yeah, he just shot. And boy, I jumped up and down for joy. I just couldn't contain myself. I had to let it go. And then I heard Miss Brenda come on the radio and say, we got one, and I come all to pieces. And pretty emotional. John Michael's been through a lot, got a lot ahead of him. He's a good kid. And I can't explain what it meant to me to watch and witness that whole event. Just awesome. You know, you hear about the hunt of a lifetime, and I've heard about it, and I thought it was a good thing, but it didn't really register home to me till tonight. This was a true hunt of a lifetime. And I can't thank everybody here that was involved enough, from Best of the West to Clay McEnroe and the Timber Tiger Lodge people and the folks here on this farm, this ranch. All the folks have just been super nice. And, you know, for us to come up here from Mississippi into the opposite end of the country, you might say, and find the kind of hospitality that we've witnessed and been a part of is just plumb amazing. And my heart goes out to everyone here. We've got some new friends for life, and I thank y'all.
My name is Brandon Fullmer. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I got connected through Hunt of a Lifetime. I was in the hospital, and my mother was outside doing her thing, and she actually talked to somebody from Hunt of a Lifetime. And I just got in from that way, and it just happened. 6 months later, I'm here. Well, I have cystic fibrosis. I have to take medication for me to eat, which are Creon 20s, which is enzymes. And I have to take those every time I eat. I have to take Prilosec in the morning and just a little everything, in short, to keep my protein up. This right here is the first area we came to. I mean, we saw a 3x4 buck right off the bat, and it was just bedded down right over the hill there. This is the first day of our hunt. We're already seeing some good opportunities, and it looks like it's going to be a good hunt.
Seem right, barely in there.
That's still pretty close. The first bucks I was seeing were pretty good bucks. I mean, I would shoot them, but everyone else was kind of just telling me to wait a little bit and just maybe I'll see a bigger one. We finally had a good opportunity at a buck.
And we ranged this buck at 5:05, and I decided not to shoot. We just had too much wind, it was too far. And then pretty soon, this buck started walking down the hill toward us. The winds calmed down, and we had a shot at 430 yards. Brandon took the shot, hit a little bit to the right, which really kind of, in retrospect, worked to our advantage. A doe started running down the hill. The buck followed, stopped at 353 yards.
Good, all right. Nice, easy squeeze. Right now? Right now. Nice, easy squeeze. Wait a minute. Okay. Take him.
Nice! Oh my God.
Did I hit him?
Fall on.
You dropped him, dude.
How many yards was that? 353 yards, huh? Oh, God. That was awesome. Oh. Excellent. Excellent. Well done. Look at that buck. Oh, man. Double eye guards. Nice. Oh, that. Look at that shot.
Triple eye guards.
That shot.
Triple eye. That's cool. Look at this little cheater here.
That's cool, buck.
Thank you.
Good shot.
Oh, excellent. That is perfect, man.
Thank you.
You did great. That is a good buck. Oh, that is a great buck.
Cool.
Look how deep his forks, all his forks are.
One out the back.
And this trash.
Two out the back.
Damn, that's a nice
Smells like
buck.
he's in a rut. Look at them parts as well glued up. Don't touch it this morning.
Yeah, we saw this buck this morning. About how far would you say?
Oh, he was 500 yards this morning.
We seen him 500 yards this morning, so I didn't have a shot off on him. So and we waited and came over here and got him. This is my first mule deer buck, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this is Oregon. So I'm pretty excited. Best of the West donated this gun to me. It's put the scope on and sighted in for me, and it's perfect. Everything. And yeah, everything was perfect. The whole thing was pretty amazing. I really liked my buck. I mean, I was pretty happy with him. I mean, you never see something like that in Pennsylvania. And there's a few words I would honestly love to thank Hunt of a Lifetime and Tyler and Brian and this whole trip, and everyone, Blake and Danny, and especially my dad for bringing me out here. Dropped him.
Heard that quack.
Man, you can hear that thing.
What happened on that first shot? My name is Nathan Ron. I'm from Germfask, Michigan. I've been hunting all my life back home and shot a lot of stuff, but I wanted to come kill a big muley. I come down with leukemia this past April, and then somebody contacted us and told us to sign up for Hunt of a Lifetime. We called them up and they let us go.
The second morning, Nate's up to shoot. We went to a new part of the ranch. Right off the bat, on the side of the road is a real nice 4-point. And we decided to go after him. We figured he'd be on top. We got up, and as it turned out, we walked probably over 3 miles trying to find this thing. We eventually got on him. He's 360 yards. The problem is he's skyline with a town right behind him. It's a no-shot situation. They fed over a ridge. We tried to stay on him, and we spent close to 5 or 6 hours trying to trail this buck. We had people looking. He got away. That's why we call him the Houdini buck. You know, even with all the people we had helping, we couldn't find this buck. We found its tracks. Danny got on it, and he followed those tracks all the way into town. I mean, this buck left the ranch, went into town, hunt's over. So after this whole morning spent trying to find this buck, we decided to come back to the original ranch. And we're driving up the road, and we look up on a hillside, and here's bighorn sheep, rams, ewes, and a bunch of mule deer. We're sitting there looking at them, glassing them, filming them, and all of a sudden the call comes in from Blake. He's got us on a new ranch. Got to the gate, we drove up 100 yards, and here's a big, nice buck standing there with amazing eye guards. And it's the first time we've been there. We knew he wouldn't go anywhere. We decided to go look for something else. We'd walked out a ridge and glassed a bunch of bucks, nothing worth shooting, and we all got back to the rig. And one of the guys looked up, I don't know, it must have been a mile or more away, and he sees this monster buck. He's in a wheat field under a windmill. It's a new ranch. We don't know how to get it. We've got to come up with a game plan, and we finally figured out we got to get the wind right. We drove around, and the stalk started. You know, this is my first time ever going after a buck in a wheat field or a stubble field. It's very difficult. I mean, it's open, it's rolling hills. We finally spotted a pair of ears, and we started crawling in on this buck. And we got Nathan set up, and we had to wait him out. And once we got in position, got set up, we had one doe standing, and it took 5 or 10 minutes, and the doe started standing up around this buck. And the last animal to stand up was a buck. And the doe started getting skittish, they started moving to the right, and Nathan timed the shot just between does.
Hit him, hit him, hit him. Watch him. Watch him, he's hit.
We knew we had a good hit on it. We didn't know how good. We followed the bucks for a while. They went down into a draw. We decided to back around and come around and get a different view. We had one of our guys stay on him. We got around. This stalk was kind of tough. I mean, it's open country. We had a very steep hill to get around, and we have probably 75 deer out in front of us. Does running all over, bucks of all sizes. And it's open, there's no cover. So we got as low as we could, we kept creeping, moving slow, and I don't know how we did it, but we didn't spook a deer out of there. Once we got in position, we knew the buck was right below us. We had an issue. We're running out of camera light. So we had to make a decision whether we wait him out or try and go after him. And we decided to wait him out, and it was a good move. His doe started going up the ridge, and he was the third one up, and we had Nathan set up. He turned, we had a range. Nathan made a fantastic shot. The buck turned, started going across the hill, and Nathan took another shot and rolled it.
Oh, you hammered him. He just dumped him.
No, he just rolled.
Just wait, just wait.
I think he's down, he's down.
Nice shot, buddy. Yeah, you did. I don't know if it hit the second one or not. He just well, he knows when he tipped over, and I don't know
You got a big
Nice job, man. I'm really proud of you.
That's a hell of a buck. That's a hell of a buck, bro.
I don't know if it's worth 6 months of chemo, but...
Did you just see that, the second one at least?
Yeah. Congratulations.
Oh my God.
Wow. Nice shoot, nice. Look at that. Golden horse. Holy. Wow. Smoker. You got yours. Look at the neck on it. Dang.
Oh.
It's a small elk.
That is awesome.
I just wanted to thank Best of the West and Hunt of a Lifetime for bringing us out here, and Huskamo for donating this great scope and great gun.
This place is just awesome out here. I mean, the people, the scenery. I mean, this is truly a hunt of a lifetime.